Good morning. It's Monday, November 23rd. Markets are higher to kick off Thanksgiving week. I'm Catherine Ross, and I am joined live by Jim Cramer, who is socially distancing and wearing his mask. But Jim, before we get to that, I want to ask, how is Action Alerts Plus approaching the markets on Monday?
Okay, well, we're actually going to make a buy here of a stock that's down $4 from when we bought it last. So those who are watching, who want to know what we're going to buy, of course, go to the next conference, the next bit of thing. What do we do? We program for Action Alerts because the trigger is being pulled as I speak.
And Jim, why are you wearing this mask?
Okay, so thank you for asking. We are doing this xprize.org/mask competition, and I want to talk about it for a bit. This one is from Arizona State. I like it because it's 2-ply and it's able to just pop right into the washing machine. You know you're supposed to have 2-ply. It has very light on the ears. It's got a way to be able to move it up so you can eat without taking it off, which is so important because we know that the way you get it often is through your nose. And I regard it as being a classic example of why you need to go to younger people. It does not fog your glasses, feels incredibly soft. It's amazingly light. And this is what young people between the ages of 15 and 24 can figure out. Now, there's been a lot of skepticism on Twitter, as there always is. People say, well, why don't you just use an N95? Well, we know the N95 only protects you. This protects both, not perfectly, but nothing's perfect. Then people say, well, why do you have to reinvent? You can just go on Etsy. Well, that was not the point. The point was to get awareness and to have for $1 million, you get 500,000 if you're the number one, 250,000 if you're number 2 and 3. The idea is that if you unleash younger people who are the ones that really have been big objectors, other than people in certain red states, they'll do a better job than what you get when you say go to Target. And this is better. This is a better mask, and it allows you to breathe. It's very comfortable. You feel like all the objections are being answered. And I particularly like the fact that you can eat without taking it off, because one of the biggest problems, as we know, is going to restaurants is where the place that Dr. Gottlieb, former FDA head says, is where you're most likely to be infected. So this answers a lot of the objections. There's a bunch more coming. You can vote. xprize.org/mask. We're finally getting traction after my doing this for 3 months. Yes, it's mine and Mark Bennett. We gave the money away to be able to have it so people have a big, big win. And then it's going to be the intellectual property is going to be open source. So anybody who wants to use it and brand it, whatever, they can do it. We've got some really great ones, some really terrific kids from around the globe. And I just think in an era of cynicism, it is fabulous to see a science contest of younger people produce some amazing, and we got 1,000 people who wanted to be in this. We're down to top 10. We need you to get us to top 5. And then we're going to have some unbelievable judges that are going to shock you to be able to finish the game. And it is going to be my privilege to award these people hundreds of thousands of dollars for doing the right thing for America and the world.
And we know that masks are here to stay at least for the next couple of months. But Jim, this is the third Monday that we've gotten positive news around a vaccine candidate. This time it's AstraZeneca's candidate, which has a 70% efficacy and a 90% efficacy when using different doses. So Jim, what does this third successful candidate mean for the rollout of vaccines?
Okay, so Lorink immediately came out and said we're probably not going to get that one, which I thought was discouraging because it really sounded good because it doesn't require any particular freezing or anything. I've been skeptical this morning about the actual rollout. Now, the rollout, just so you know, is military to McKesson, or it might be military to UPS to McKesson. Not really clear. But right now, it looks like military to McKesson, then McKesson, UPS, and FedEx, okay, to CVS, to Walgreens. At the same time, a dual track, it looks like it's the military that goes right to the hospitals to get first responders. That's done first. My skepticism is twofold. One is that what we were told when this thing started, now this wasn't warp speed, but when this first started, the president told us on the White House lawn, he had Walmart, and he said, we're all going to be able to get tested at Walmart in the parking lot. And he did it like Walmart. I mean, it never happened. And, you know, I am determined not to be fooled again. That never happened. Then we got tests that we thought were perfectly good, and they didn't do a good job at CDC, okay? Next, we got tests that really weren't as accurate as we'd like. finally we got PCR, but there is still a major backlog in this country of PCR. So why should I necessarily believe that this vaccine is going to be distributed right? Now, the difference is that it is done by its warp speed, which has proven to be pretty good. And it is going to be in the hands of McKesson, CVS, and Walgreens. And I trust all three of those companies. I think they're terrific. But the bad news is that Pfizer's requires a certain amount of freezing. And I don't know if it's going to be right. We know we have a Zebra system. Zebra's the company that makes the tape that tells you whether it's going bad. And Moderna's got 20 million. Now, it's very exciting if there's 20 million. I don't know how many health responders there are. But then after that, what I want to know is who gets it. And again, it's state by state. Texas told us not to worry about a thing, Texas governor. But you know what? I mean, one of the things we've learned is that if you're from a blue state, you don't get treated this way. You get treated as a red state. And then all on top of that, we might have a new administration coming in that might want to undo everything. So I tend to be skeptical because no one was skeptical enough, including me, about the testing. I genuinely believed that Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, that they would solve this, and they never did. So let's maintain our skepticism while at the same time, as my friend and colleague and writing partner, Matt Horween, says, look, we should be a little more positive because Warp Speed's done well. Warp Speed has been good. I just feel like I don't want people to think that you're buying stocks with the idea that we're all going to have the vaccine by January. That's just very unrealistic.
And Jim, one other thing that you've been skeptical on is Regeneron. Now, it is a drug that you've been saying that this is the drug you want if you do get COVID-19.
Absolutely.
But
fantastic.
you're worried about actually getting it if you're not, for example, President Donald Trump. But I have to ask if getting an EUA for this drug from the FDA changes your mind at all.
No, I mean, the issue is the ability to manufacture it. That Regeneron has got something great, but there's no indication that they can do it at scale. And if they can't do it at scale, then you get into this allocation issue. And if you have the allocation issue, then suddenly you might get sick and you don't get it. Or I get sick and I don't get it and someone else gets it because the distribution is not clear. Does the distribution only go to red states? Does the distribution go equal? Each state gets the same amount. Or is each state by capita? I mean, one of the things that has really hurt us here is that we don't really have, we have a CDC and Secretary Azar is completely dependent upon President Trump's support or he'll be fired. And Azar was the man who told me not to worry about China, even though the president's constantly saying that he's stopped things. What the president did, what they did was they stopped planes from Wuhan initially. But all the people who wanted to come here just left Wuhan and went to Beijing and Shanghai. So, I mean, there is reason to be skeptical in the same way that there was reason to be skeptical about the initial Abbott test, which was supposed to be absolutely terrific. But my doctors pulled it because it was not accurate enough. So, we just find time and again, when I look at Regeneron, I very much believe in Regeneron. It's an unbelievable company. But can we get it at scale? And the optimism that is coming from the vaccine world, I think, is too great. I'm thinking it's a June, July issue, and that if you're buying stocks for now, you're really buying them for the fall of next year. And as long as you have that patience, you're in good shape.
And Jim, right now, one of the biggest issues that we're seeing both in the political space, but also in the coronavirus space, is which administration we're looking at. And President-elect Biden, his being brought into the White House. So according to the New York Times, Jim, over 100 CEOs plan to ask the Trump administration to acknowledge Biden as president-elect. From your perspective, what does this say when business leaders need to step into politics?
Well, the business leaders don't have as many votes as Mitch McConnell has. If Mitch McConnell were to say on December 15th, Mr. President, we no longer support you, then there's a possibility. But my sources indicate that they remain very bullish at the White House, that their opportunities and their chances and what's going on. Possibly there's there's a lawsuit among two congressmen in Pennsylvania, and it's the first time congressmen have been involved. There's you can go to appellate court, and the president's for the ruling that they lost this weekend in Pennsylvania. They think it go appellate, and then the president said that that was a victory. Remember, when I see these things, which are very Orwellian, that he thinks he's going to stay, what that says to me is you can't today issue send me I'm on some Republican list a request for money to continue to appeal, put up the tweets that the president say. I mean, I follow Twitter. I mean, the president, it just doesn't sound like, I mean, he is just on a warpath against the Democrats. And this is not the kind of thing that we talk about concession. He just put up one just now, where he's talking about great, but we also won the election. Oh, it's 10 hours ago. Okay, sorry. It's great, but we won the election. The great they won. The voter fraud, the voter fraud, the voter fraud. When we know that there's never been, it's a very good article by David Remnick this weekend in New Yorker, we've never been a country that's had a lot of voter fraud. But the president has sown seeds of voter fraud so great that I have to believe that he is not going anywhere. And when I say he's not going anywhere, what I mean, he's highly unlikely to concede. And I know that Schwartzman's really important, and he's going to pressure. And I know that related companies, which is Ross, who owns the Dolphins, that they're no longer in the camp. But I just want to tell people, please, 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 respect the fact that the president is telling his inner circle that he's going to win, and he has no intentions of going anywhere. And those are people whom I spoke to this weekend who truly believe that there's a major chance that the president can win and are not put off at all by the Pennsylvania decision.
Well, and Jim, it's interesting that you said that, because on Friday you said that you're hoping to get that the market gets clarity on the vaccine and the Biden versus Trump. I mean, obviously this morning we got clarity on more vaccines, but if we start to see both the Trump and Biden working together to roll out the vaccine, then would you feel more bullish on a spring vaccine?
I know that we'd be in good shape. I just think Biden comes in and maybe he undoes the distribution side of warp speed. Maybe he continues it. Maybe we find that CVS and Walgreens are very good at determining who should get it. Maybe we leave it to Walgreens and CVS. I just think that that would not be Biden's way. I don't think that Biden would say that your fate is in the hands of CVS. It's just not imaginable to me. But right now, your hands are in the fate of CVS until the president clarifies.
Looking over at chip stocks.
I wish it weren't. I mean, it's kind of absurd, but I like the private sector. I'm fine with it. By the way, I'm fine with what Larry Merlo comes with, because I'm confident that he will do a better job than the government. But I also am conscious of the absurdity of CVS deciding whether you live or die. It's kind of weird.
Well, Jim, while we still have these stay-at-home plays, I want to talk specifically about chip stocks right now. So you said that it's time for AMD and not Micron. So should investors reduce their position or exit their position in Micron and start looking for opportunities to buy AMD?
Micron's fine. I just feel like that AMD is not rallied from where it reported because of the Xilinx acquisition, and represents a better buy right here because it hasn't rallied. But Micron's doing quite well. And I think that Micron has a very good chance of going still higher. The interesting thing for me is the last time that Micron talked, they missed the quarter, and nobody seems to care, and that's very encouraging.
Jim, another stock that you like quite a bit is Tesla. Now, Tesla's bull case at Wedbush was raised to $1,000. I know you've been a fan for a while, but it's been a minute since I last asked. What price point would you buy Tesla right now?
It's fine right here. I mean, I think Tesla has the possibility of being a major technology company that also makes cars. I think there's a lot of things under the hood of Tesla that are very positive. I think that Wall Street has decided to get on board with Tesla. There seems to be very little notion that it matters exactly what price, what market cap the company has. It just doesn't matter. I mean, it's one of those situations where, and I've seen this periodically in my life, where everyone's just behind a stock and no one wants to sell it, so it goes higher. until it finds some level that brings out sellers. And we used to talk about this with Karen Cramer all the time. She would say, what's the level that brings out sellers? She would ask all the desks. And we can't seem to find any sellers. And that's one of the reasons why I'm most bullish on it, other than the fact that I totally believe in Elon Musk, and I really believe that it's got really bright hopes on its solar side. And I think that the German factory is going to work. And I think that when you take a look at companies like LI, this is a Chinese company, and you look at NEO. I mean, LI, look at this today. This LI is up 12%, okay? That's a smart electric sports utility vehicle. And then you look at NEO, okay? And you see that NEO, what's NEO up today? NEO's up a niceness 5%. That people just want these stocks. And if you're going to buy NEO and you're going to buy Lee, well, you should be buying Tesla. It's better than those two.
Jim, I'm looking right now at Merck, which had an acquisition this morning. It's pretty flat right now, but they did pay $425 million for OncoImmune, and that company is developing a treatment for people suffering from severe forms of COVID-19. What did you think of this acquisition?
Yeah, I mean, I think that people were looking for Merck to come out today and say, listen, we've got a pill that gets you, that if you get COVID, or an inhaler, you can get right out of the hospital, or you don't have to go to the hospital. And so people were not thrilled when they saw that this was just an acquisition. The ones that have been very much a quandary to me are Merck and J&J. I mean, I know we sold J&J for Action Alert because we're just getting a bad feel about where they are with their vaccine. And another thing is, like, the 4-star general who's in charge of vaccine distribution says that we have warehouses and warehouses of vaccines. Now, I'd like to know, is that Moderna? Is that Pfizer? How many do they really have? They won't tell us. But one thing is certain is that I had thought that J&J would be right up there in December. Now that's talking about later in the first quarter, and the reason I say this is because J&J absolutely had the best volume, the scale. Moderna's only 20 million. That's just not enough. I mean, maybe that covers, Pfizer and Moderna can cover the healthcare system and first responders. And then what's left for us? I don't know. We really got to find out.
But could it be that
one thing, there's no skepticism at all. Everyone's really thrilled, and that's terrific. I started getting skeptical about testing when I tried to get tested and realized that it was a fool's errand for the first, say, 4 or 5 months. And if you check, no one was really skeptical when that was announced either. I am just saying I want to be skeptical, especially given the fact that the president doesn't believe there's a transition coming. He doesn't. And the papers, as Biden appoints people, more and more people are going to say, you know what, there is a transition. And there is something to be said of the idea that we've got to be concerned that the transition may not go well for the distribution.
But Jim, let's take a step back, because what you just said interested me. What if it is the case that Moderna and Pfizer have enough to cover the healthcare system, and possibly people who, are more at risk and therefore need it, and then we get J&J results, and they've already, perhaps, I mean, this is all hypotheticals, but perhaps they've already been scaling out. So could you and I be getting the J&J?
That's the bull case. I want to believe the bull case. Maybe AstraZeneca does ship some here. Maybe the FDA approves that. I could do this, and this is what I just said in Twitter. Okay, everyone's going to get it. You're going to all be inoculated by February, and the world's back by April.
Yeah. So let's scale back our timeline, Jim. We've been talking about...
Just give in, right? Just give in. Just give in. I surrender. I surrender to the idea that it's all going to go well. Okay, I surrender. It's better just to say yes. I surrender. It's all good.
So we've been focusing very much on the long-term view, but we have a holiday coming up. So Jim, I want to ask you, how are you approaching Cyber Monday and Black Friday this year?
I think retail's very strong because there's just a lot of money sloshing around because people have nothing else to do. So instead of traveling on Thanksgiving, or instead of spending a lot of money, going anywhere at all. I think that what happens is that you have money to not to do anything experiential, but to buy gifts. And if you take out experiential, there is a lot of excess money sloshing around.
Well, and there was an interesting piece out of the Wall Street Journal, Jim, where they said that shoppers are actually flocking to malls even during this surge. Did you see
I
that?
agree. I've been saying that. You don't have to quote the journal. You can quote me. I've been saying that Macy's is good. That, but even better is limited. LB, American Eagle Outfitters, Gap is very very strong. There seems to be a tremendous desire to shop in general, and that was the point of how Kohl's ended up doing well. One of the reasons why Amazon's not doing as well is because people realize that if you're able to go out, you'll go out and you'll go to these stores. If they hadn't crushed CVS with their stupid announcement, CVS would be up a lot. But because their traffic numbers are good, the traffic numbers are better. People are going out. People are wearing masks and they're going out.
So, Jim, give our investors watching this 3 retail stocks to watch this holiday season or to add to their bullpens.
Well, I mean, I think that the holiday season is still going to be Costco, it's going to be Target, and it's going to be Walmart. That's it. They're going to be the ones because those are the ones that are offering tremendous bargains and great scale. And this is a scale. This is a scale game. Do you have the inventory? Do you have what they want? Target does. Walmart definitely has. And Costco offers incredible value.
All right, and with that, we are going to head on over to our Action Alerts Plus daily show over on actionalertsplus.com. And you can come join us for more of Jim's insight. I'm Catherine Ross, and we'll see you tomorrow.